history of hacking. So way back in the day, or as the story goes, basically, some of the earliest hackers that were out were typically people that were extremely curious about this new technology that was coming out. I would kind of equate those type of individuals to people today that might be, you give your kid a new cell phone or a new tablet or a new Xbox, and they really, really, really want to understand how it's working on the inside or what makes it tick. Now, since then, things have progressively changed because users or people are becoming more aware as well as utilizing more advanced and creative tools. Now, as hacking goes, most hackers will always be dealing with the latest and greatest in technology. And back in the 70s, most of this latest and greatest stuff were mainframes that were typically available on college campuses or even corporate infrastructures. The most prominent infrastructure was probably our telephone system. Captain Crunch, who was probably one of our most famous telephone preakers out there, he actually discovered that there was a whistle that came as a free gift inside of Captain Crunch cereal that he could use if he blew it inside of a payphone headset. He could actually create free phone calls, which in the overall scheme of things, back in the day, that would have been about, a dime for a payphone? That probably didn't cost the company a lot of money, but it was still a hack, and it was obviously still illegal because he was bypassing security mechanisms in order to take advantage of resources. We then saw in the 80s, or the 1980s, the PC actually started to become a technology that basic users could bring into their homes. And because of that, we actually saw that hackers could actually use their knowledge to attack more systems. In the 1990s, the internet, this is where the internet started making its big craze, its big push in both public and for business environments. It allowed people to become interconnected. And it's because of this interconnectivity that, as I mentioned before as well, as far as hackers are concerned, I'm going to start using a different phrase here. Because I want to make sure we get this down. We're going to start, instead of calling them hackers, we're going to call them attackers. Because again, a hacker or somebody hacking is not necessarily something bad. But up until this point, most systems that were online were big, huge organizations. And I mentioned before that as far as attackers are concerned, they really don't care. When they see a computer on the internet, they have no care in the world on whether or not it is owned by, well, they do, because it helps them with their ability to come up with a hack value. But if it's a home PC, that's cool. That may not be their main target, but they can definitely use those resources. In the 2000s, we're seeing obviously major pushes because of mobility. It's typically our biggest push because of things like smartphones, tablets. We also have Wi-Fi going out the wazoo here. Almost everywhere that you go, I mean, for heaven's sake, you can go to McDonald's and pick up Wi-Fi. Bluetooth is another big connectivity technology that a lot of people are forgetting about. And because of that, hackers are starting to actually evolve and change their attacks to take advantage of these two new technologies. Now, again, kind of back in the 90s when attackers were out there doing things on the internet, the most common thing that we saw was attackers defacing people's websites. So they'd make it, Billy Bob's Plumbing actually ended up being Billy Bob's Stupid Plumbing website. And they'd go through and they'd make huge modifications as a joke. And that's really where a lot of the hacking technology came from, is a lot of people were just trying to do humorous things or prank people. But obviously things have changed because of the fact that it's kind of the yin and yang of technology, is that where there's good, there's also evil. Not that a prank is good, but you guys get what I mean here.